Most marketers are spending 80% of their time on the wrong part of Facebook ads, and it's absolutely killing their profits. What if I told you that Sabri Suby's 34 million marketing campaign had almost nothing to do with his campaign settings? In this video, I really want to break down the 80-20 rule of what makes a good campaign set, and I'm going to compare it to Sabri Suby's $34 million campaign. He did a video about this too, but in the video, he doesn't share the details, tricks, and tips that he actually implemented. I'm going to unpack all of that and break it down and give you as much value as possible. Also sharing some examples of what we do for our $2 million marketing agency, MYA. Be sure to stick around because I'm also going to share the templates, frameworks that we use so that you can take these and implement them into your meta ad strategy right away. So the first thing that he talks about here,
any good ad all begins with the research.
So you heard it from the GOAT himself. Number one most important thing is probably the research. At MYA, we call this the magnetic offer, or diving really deep into your ideal customer. Who are we talking to and what are their pain points? You want to do a lot of research about who your customer is, what is really bothering them, and what language do they use. Here you can use things like Reddit, you can use tools like Answer the Public, or you can also use tools right now like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to do deep research on your topic and find out all of the pain points in the language your customers use. Really important, you got to do so in your prompt. So I'll show you right now. Let's go over to ChatGPT. Let's assume you're a custom home builder in Florida. You want to figure out all of the pain points that your customers have and the questions and the objections. You want to use voice chat always. Can you do deep research for me and figure out what custom home buyers, when they're in the process of buying or building or renovating a home, what questions and objections they have when they're trying to figure out how to hire an architect or a custom home builder or a designer to help them during that process? What are their questions? What are their objections? Be sure to go really deep, look at platforms like Reddit, Quora, go deep into the internet and find the exact things that people are saying. Take their exact words, do not change it, and put it all into a table like of pain points, questions, and objections that these people are having. Look at what pops up in Google, in forums, do extensive research and give me all of that in a nicely formatted and nicely structured way that I can use it for my ads. There we go. We click enter and it will go and put that into motion for me. Might take a while. And meanwhile, we can look at some other things that we want to do as well. Another gold mine that we can use here is using Facebook groups. Sabri mentions this in his video as well, that he uses this a lot. Here, it's really about digging deep. It's going into these groups, answering questions, communicating with the people. Maybe if you've built up a little bit of trust, don't spam into the group. You'll get blocked and banned. But go into the group and ask some questions. How did you do that? How did you accomplish that process to understand what people are struggling with, what questions they have, and what objections they have so that you can create the perfect ad for that? And here is another really important one. If you already are running a successful business and you have clients, customers, and you have a lot of conversations with them, you're already getting all of these questions. So you can go and pull transcripts from your sales calls. You can pull testimonials. You can grab customer service emails and questions that come in. Nowadays, it's super easy, right? Because you can just take all of these emails and throw them into ChatGPT and say, give me all of the questions and objections my customers had while they were going through this process so that you can collect them for your advertising materials. It's really important. You may be asking yourself, well, Sebastian, how do I take all of this content and put it into one ad? And we'll get to that point, because when you're scaling a meta ads campaign and you want to scale your business, we're not just doing one ad. And I'll explain the detailed strategy on how we get that done in a second.
All the research in the world will go to waste if you can't hijack attention.
Number two, Sabri talks about hijacking attention. I'm not sure if I agree that you need to walk around with a chicken in your office in order to get the attention that you need. Sabri is spending millions and millions of dollars on these ads, and they definitely crush. Here's what you need to do in order to get people to actually click. You need to have a good hook. And Sabri mentions this as well, right? He records 10, 12, maybe even 20 hooks. You may not need to do 20, but you should be recording multiple hooks. So think of the angles that your customers are going through, the questions that they may have, and make sure you have a really strong hook at the beginning. I have an entire training on hooks alone, so I'm not going to go too deep in this video, but it's really important that you hook the viewer's attention. This can be also adding a strong guarantee or really saying why it's worthwhile to work with you at the beginning of the ad. We don't want to have an ad that says, hey, I'm a custom home builder, here are my services, and you can click there for my prices. You want to really make it enticing for me to actually watch the video, because attention spans are short. People don't trust you. People don't want to watch your stuff. They just scroll on for the next funny video. We need to make sure they stop and they stay there to watch. The second thing that he mentions, he talks a lot about rehooks. A rehook is basically continuing to grab the attention. That means that you, within the ad, you explain something new, something different. Maybe you change the scene, you wear something different, jump up and down. It just needs to be interesting. It cannot just be your message to the video. You need to do a couple of funny things within your ad if it's not already involving some of your movement. So now at this point, I want to head over back to ChatGPT and just look at the results we initially got for this question. So if you remember my question, I was asking for custom home buyers in Florida looking for this process, and you see we've got a ton of output. So we have over 35 questions here. We have a link to where this question is being asked, in which forum. We have the theme and the exact words. So here we have cost. How do they know about construction costs? In my experience, architects rarely know about construction costs. Is it appropriate to ask the potential architects if they could submit high level stuff like that? So you see, these are all questions, objections. Do not take pricing estimates from your architect. So obviously it seems like cost and pricing is a very sensitive matter. So maybe if you're a custom home builder or architect, or you're doing something within this niche, you may want to be upfront and transparent about your process and your pricing, because it seems that a lot of people have a problem with this, or they're worried about this. Now, you might be saying, Sebastian, these are all tire kickers and cheapskates, and that may be possible. However, if you put your pricing out there up front and you are very clear on your process and your offer in your advertising, in your marketing, you also won't get these tire kickers, because either they're going to see that and they're going to be like, well, this is too expensive. They're not even going to bother contacting you. Or they're like, oh, well, this makes sense and that's cool. And they contact you and they already know what they're getting. This only benefits you if you go through these objections and you make sure you integrate them into your ads. And I'll explain more in a second as well.
Selling against all the other alternatives that exist out in the marketplace.
Another thing that he talks about a lot is the selling against narrative. Many people go out there and they do an ad for the 1 to 3% of people that want to buy right now. The issue with that is that, especially, for example, if we stick with the market that we're talking about, custom home building, architecture and stuff like that, people have a long time to make this decision. It's going anywhere from a couple of months to maybe even years until people make a decision that they want to renovate or invest a couple of $1 million into their new home. So this is a very emotional, long decision-making process. And you want to make sure that you can capture these people somewhere in between while they're making these decisions. So not all the way at the beginning where you got to wait 2 years for them to make a decision, and also not all the way at the end where they've already made a decision which people they want to have for help with this. One strategy that you can employ here is using your competitors and other services to explain how you are different. If you're a custom home builder and you have half of your business is development and project management and the other half is architecture, so you have architects in-house and you're doing development as well, that's an advantage towards what other competitors out there might be doing. Maybe they're architects, maybe they're developers, maybe they're builders. You can go in and you can explain how somebody else does something or how another process looks without shaming anyone, just saying this is the normal way on how things are done, and this is the way how we do it. And that's how you position yourself in a premium way while also explaining how you work. At the beginning, I mentioned I'm going to share a breakdown on how ads work, and there's actually an entire another video where I break down the strategy of how we run the ads, with awareness ads, with objection handling ads, the testimonial, and the call to action ads all the way at the end. What you can also do at this stage is address all of the solutions that might have failed or that are not working anymore. So for example, you can talk about today's environment, why 2025 is different, or maybe you're watching this in 2026 and things have changed again. There's new technologies, new materials, new ways of working, and you can talk about an old way and how your way right now is different and new, and why people should go with this way, right? Explain the benefits, explain how you work, and take people into this process. Now, all of this is different from directly selling your product or service. You're educating your audience, your prospects, about what is best, and at the same time you're building know, like, and trust. And as you may know, with 2025, if you're watching this in 2026, I hope it's not worse. We're in a trust recession. 6 out of 10 people, according to some studies, don't even trust you. They think you're lying before you even open your mouth. So especially when it comes to very high ticket purchases, multi-million-dollar homes is a great example. This takes a long time to build this trust that people are like, yes, we want to do it with you.
People had grown tired of other marketing agencies promising the world and not delivering results.
This is exactly what Sabri Suby did in his 34 1.4 million ad campaign. He calls out agencies and he says these agencies are not delivering results. All they wanted you to update their logo. And he also builds empathy and shows understanding for, 6 months down the line, my entire marketing budget was strained and we didn't see any results. Okay, so he gets you. And he explains this in his ad as well. Be familiar with that every prospect has probably already tried other solutions and some of these might have failed. And show understanding why they failed. Show your competence and your expertise on why you know better. For example, for us, when we talk to people about SEO or about paid ads, we can really quickly get into the ads manager or get really nitty gritty, look at the landing pages, look at your funnel and see exactly why you're not getting the results that you should be getting. And we can pinpoint this like literally on an initial conversation, which helps people understand that we know exactly what we're doing. With that comes also that you demonstrate how you're different. Show them what you do differently, how you report, how you share results, and only then present your solution. So show them how you could get that done for them. So you really only need a few key things to make an absolutely fire ad. What is probably most important, and you'll see this on this sheet here that I'm sharing with you right now, is that you spend a lot of time on the research phase. You want to get the specific pain points. I've shared this with you. We did this quick ChatGPT exercise for custom home builders and architects, and it gets very specific on the pain point. We have here all of the 5 things that it identified as the biggest pain points. Budget anxiety, obviously, understandably, we're talking about millions of dollars sometimes. Spec work, deliverables, fees, clarity, decision friction, the timeline process. So if you're really clear on the timeline, this might help your buyer make a decision to go with you. And finally, it's also the contract confidence. So maybe your testimonials, how many people you've actually done this for, would be good to understand. If you now were a custom home builder, you'd want to make sure that these exact pain points are also shown up in your marketing materials. And exactly how, I will break down in the entire ad strategy. If you want to understand how to set up one of these campaigns in the ad manager, I'm going to show you that video right here. And I'm also going to create another video for all of you that want to know exactly how to integrate all of these questions and objections into your next campaign. Just leave a comment below, ad strategy, and I will create another video where I'm breaking down what ads you need to create for which phase so that you can include all of this, educate your buyers before they choose you so that you get way higher show rates, way higher close rates, and you can predictably and profitably acquire new customers even right now when ad costs are completely through the roof. See you in the next one.